If you didn't call it a war, then it wasn't one. You could be mistaken for thinking that the US has been involved in dozens of wars, but it's only declared wars 11 times since 1812, and only in 5 separate conflicts. The last declaration was on June 4, 1942, against Bulgaria, Hungary, and Romania. And that is despite over 240 major military operations and possibly up to 400 interventions, from full-scale invasions to drone strikes, as well as covert coups that most of the public very likely would not have approved of. Nearly half of all 400 U.S. military operations took place after 1950, and over a quarter occurred even after the Cold War ended. These interventions didn't always look like traditional wars, so we didn't call them that. But many were wars in all but name. And today, even the ones that clearly are don't get labeled as such. But what about the Vietnam War? Surely the name gives it away. Well, it wasn't technically a war. Congress, after having been misled about an attack on U.S. ships that never happened in the Gulf of Tonkin, gave the green light for retaliation. Still, retaliation wasn't deemed an act of war, even though it clearly was in substance. The world of war had entered an era of semantic sleight of hand. If you didn't call it a war, then it wasn't one. It's a similar deal with the Ukraine war, which is unmistakably a war, even if Russia never officially declared one. When Vladimir Putin launched the invasion, he branded it as a special military operation. He took flack for what was a blatant euphemism, but he was simply following the modern international playbook. If you don't say war, you can more easily dodge the political, legal, and economic fallout that comes along with it. Short, calling it a war would have meant owning it. And just so you know, war is what you think it is. The Oxford English Dictionary defines it as, quote, armed conflict between nations, states, or rulers, or between groups in the same nation or state, typically characterized by a campaign or series of campaigns conducted over a period of time. Ukraine, Vietnam, they were and are wars.